Okay, we're going to talk about Mr. Harsh Reality now and why Mr. Harsh thinks that they had a rush to get a suspect and somebody that was like an outsider because of the University of Phoenix deal. And he's saying to prove him wrong. And I'm going to prove him wrong.
This isn't a new thing. I'm just showing you who you're dealing with, right? So the University of Idaho has outsourced at least $7.3 million of consulting work to President C. Scott Green's previous employer. Hogan Lovells, an international law firm with 48 offices across the globe, appears to have received most of the money the University of Idaho has spent for consulting on its proposed $685 million University of Phoenix purchase. You see what's happening here? Do you see what's happening here? So this is the sort of money we're talking about. We're talking about around Scott Green, his old employer, $7.3 million in consultancy work just around that purchase. We've just spoken about the figures around that acquisition. But university has spent for consultant on its proposed $685 million purchase of the Phoenix University.
I just wanted to talk about that part for a second because I don't think, personally, and I know a lot of you are going to disagree, and that's fine, but show me proof that there is anything shady going on. Like, come to me with actual proof. Because it's not unusual that when somebody has worked with a firm, whether they actually worked at the firm or they have worked with that firm in collaboration with another employer, that if they know that firm is very capable and does a good job, that they would recommend them at their new job. So it's not unusual that Scott Green would have recommended that law firm for doing consulting on the University of Phoenix deal. Okay? And he is not the decision maker. He is an employee of the state of Idaho. His bosses are the Board of Education, the State Board of Education, the Board of Regents. Now, in Washington, each college, state college, has a separate board. So UW has a different board than WSU's Board of Regents, etc. But they're all appointed by the governor. And then the university presidents work under the Board of Regents. Well, in Idaho, it's one board for all the state universities and then K through 12. So it's one education board. And it's led by the superintendent of public instruction, who is an elected official. Okay? Scott Green works for them. They don't work for him. So I don't care how powerful you think he is or how much of a boogeyman you've made him out to be in your imagination. He can only suggest things. The board still has to approve. So if they used that law firm, there was a reason that they voted to use that law firm. And I'm going to say not only is it because Green knew that they were a good company for acquisitions and education litigation, but also it's just the fact that they are one of the largest law firms in the U.S. And here's one of their specialty areas. So it says at Hogan Lovells, their education sector organizations must manage law compliance in an environment more complex, intense, and variable than in bygone days. Education institutions face financial pressure, heightened regulatory burdens, and government enforcement, keen competition, increased internationalism, and fast-paced technological opportunities. And see, that's one of the keys there is acquisitions are also something that Hogan Lovells does, but we're talking education compliance. And then the technology comes into play too, because the reason why University of Idaho was looking into University of Phoenix was because of their infrastructure for expanding online classes. Because University of Idaho already has a couple different online degree types, but they wanted to expand. You could see why that's a good law firm to consult with if you're a university trying to purchase another educational institution. Now, as far as Scott Green, people are acting like that money gets funneled to him. He doesn't work for that law firm anymore. He's not getting any of that money. So I just stop with the conspiracies, honestly. Now, if you can find me something, if you can find me any sort of record keeping that shows that he was getting money funneled to him illegally, then bring it. Otherwise, just stop. Let's continue.
So when we talk about the Idaho 4 case and we talk about what happened and the deaths and what it means to the area and why there was such an importance on finding someone that had no connection to the University of Idaho, nobody would have wanted anything to happen that could have scuppered that deal. And you can stick your head in the ground all you fucking like. You can try and say, look over here and look at this theory and look at this because this makes the most sense. But I don't care about things like that. What I care about is the understanding that there was an over $500 million deal sitting on the table that, again, at the moment is very difficult to completely ascertain what is going on with that deal. But around the time of this death, or these deaths, this deal was on the table. It was being discussed, and there was millions and millions of pounds of money swapping hands. Millions and millions of dollars swapping hands. And you can't tell me that when this murder of this gravity and it hits the headlines like it did, and there is such a focus on it, that there wasn't people who were sitting there with their asses twitching, wondering how this was going to impact this deal. Tell me I'm wrong.
I'm telling you you're wrong. And you know why? You ever heard the phrase, beggars can't be choosers? University of Phoenix is the beggar. They're not the chooser. They have been desperately looking for a buyer because they have had financial problems. They've had the United States federal government going after them about predatory loans because they're a for-profit university. They were going under. So they're looking for a buyer. And they, I tell you, could not care less. Couldn't care less. The phrase, I know. Come after me about misusing the phrase. But there could have been 30 circus clowns in the Kibbe Dome all get massacred, and University of Phoenix wouldn't have cared. Okay. That wouldn't have stopped the deal. Because they were not in the driver's seat. Okay? The institutions they are going to are who are making the decision. See, Phoenix wasn't going to go, oh, pull us out of there because you just had a quadruple homicide. And that looks bad for you. Oh, no. They were like, please, we need this deal, please. And University of Idaho wasn't going, oh my God, this murder is going to kibosh the deal. No. No, because again, Phoenix, the beggars, they're not in the driver's seat. And if we take a look, you can see that they were pursuing other buyers also because the Idaho deal got stopped. So it says, with U of I deal in limbo, Phoenix seeks to talk to other buyers. And this was published June 2nd of 2024. But let's go back a year. Back in January of 2023, they were also talking to University of Arkansas. And University of Arkansas was talking about purchasing them. It's because Phoenix was going to as many different higher education institutes as they could, trying to get somebody to buy them. And in April of 2023, University of Arkansas, their board rejected the deal to buy University of Phoenix. So that left Phoenix still trying to work a deal with Idaho. And to this day, they're still trying to find a buyer. Because as long as the state Supreme Court has the whole Idaho deal on hold, Phoenix is like, someone buy us. See? So the murders would have had no bearing. The only way they could have had a bearing was if the tables were opposite, if the tables were turned, and Idaho was the ones begging to be purchased and asking University of Phoenix, hey, will you please purchase us? Then I could see them going, oh my God, we just had these murders and oh, this isn't going to look good. But even then, I still can't see the police setting up someone to be a pansy. I just can't. And definitely not because of the university. Definitely not. They followed the evidence. It led to Kohberger. It's going to take a hell of a lot at the trial to convince me it's not him. There's going to be after some sort of smoking gun that shows he absolutely, positively could not have been there, wasn't there at King Road. But I'm not of the belief that there was any setup going on. But definitely not over University of Idaho and the Phoenix deal. Because, like I said, beggars can't be choosers. Phoenix is the beggars. They don't care. They just want somebody to buy them. Okay? So they can get billed out of their situation. So, yeah, you are completely wrong, Harsh. Completely wrong.